Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Rookie quarterbacks are a process, but Drake Maye hasn't made the best first impression in Patriots camp. Also, what has gone wrong for the Cubs in Craig Counsell's first year? And the Steelers' quarterback competition isn't really a competition. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more with the NBA and NHL playoffs now way in our rear view. The sports are not sportsing like we want them to, but this summer FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, something for everyone every day all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
It's not the regular season, it's the preseason, which means all eyes on rookie quarterbacks, because come regular season, we may not see some of these guys starting week one. Drake Maye in New England, one of those guys potentially in that boat. Mike Debate, our boots on the ground, Locked On Patriots podcast host, joins me now. And Mike, we've got some mixed reviews on Mr. Maye here in August, because we saw, or they're seeing, some of these high-level throws and some inconsistencies, some rawness there. What do you see?
Yeah, I think that really sums it up, Peter. It has been a tale of two Drake Mays right now. I mean, there are times where he looks very much like the number 3 pick in the NFL draft, a guy that can go out and make the deep throw, really make exciting throws. We've seen a couple of scrambles coming from him and moving around the pocket, being able to navigate outside of the pocket. These are all of the things that he was highly touted for when the Patriots drafted him, and it makes him look, dare I say, NFL ready. And then there are times where his footwork is a little bit off. Some of the decision-making is a little suspect. Some of the connections that he's trying to develop with his young receivers just don't seem to be there yet. I think it is kind of a balance right now that the Patriots have to walk. It's a very fine line. Jacoby Brissett has been the most consistent quarterback out there, and it's a good thing that he is out there and navigates well through an Alex Van Pelt offense. But Drake Maye he will be ready, folks. The question is when. I would probably say it's going to be maybe a little bit later than Patriots fans might like, but I still believe this kid has the stuff to be a solid quarterback here in New England.
And if you are not an SEC football fan, you are going to love Joe Milton in the preseason. I promise you, he's going to make some throws that will make the hair on your arms stand up. And then he will also make some throws. You'll go, what, dude, what are you doing? And that's part of the deal with these young players. I think the question that a lot of Patriots fans had coming in, Mike, was, do we even want Drake Maye to start this year, given the infrastructure around him? The offensive line is not great. The pass catchers, they made some additions, but still not great. You got 2 draft picks, Jalen Polk and Javon Baker, who are expected to have large roles on this team. We'll see what they can get from Juju Smith-Schuster, Tyquan Thornton. They brought in Jalen Reagor, KJ Osborne. But like, I mean, all due respect, that's a mid-off, Mike. So do the Patriots want Drake Maye to start this year?
I think it's going to all shake out on how this offensive line starts to come around, and I think you hit the nail on the head, Peter. You don't want your star quarterback, potentially star quarterback for a number of years, running around for his life there. I mean, there is an argument to be made that this kid has to get NFL ready, and there is an element of trial by fire that does give birth to solid NFL quarterbacks, maybe even great NFL quarterbacks that overcome adversity. But this is an offensive line that is very suspect right now. Chuks Okorafor was supposed to be the left tackle. A lot of people were saying that going in. He's been shifting over, playing right. The rookie Caden Wallace, who didn't play left tackle in college for Penn State, is now playing left tackle for New England, doing a solid job. But again, these are training camp reps. We're not seeing actual game time reps that have been taken for these players. Preseason is going to be a big litmus test, and I think early on in the season is really where the Patriots make their decision. Do they hold Drake out until maybe a very late bye week or maybe earliest mid-season to give him his chance to take the keys to the kingdom on this team? I think as long as the team is playing adequate under Jacoby Brissett, the argument can be made that maybe that's where they should stay and really give him an opportunity to learn. Jacoby's been an excellent tutor and an excellent mentor for Drake on the field and also in the locker room and on the sidelines. If that can continue, it may serve Drake best to be an observer more than he's a player this year.
if they're going to have some success, and by the way, I have Patriots over 4.5 this year, it's going to be because of that defense. That's the reason why I like over 4.5, because I think this defense can be really, really good. But a scary situation, Mike, with Christian Barmore, really a rising star for the New England Patriots, diagnosed with blood clots. His future, not just with the Patriots, but in the NFL at this point is unknown. I assume that this took everyone aback there. What are the reverberations that you felt from that?
Yeah, this is definitely shocking without any question. I mean, Christian was not a regular participant from the opening day of training camp, and you knew something was up. This kid had enjoyed good health and great play on the field for the first time in his career, and you saw the results. Christian nearly pulled off a Pro Bowl caliber season last year. I believe that he was coming into this year with maybe a little chip on his shoulder and proving that he is one of the best defensive tackles in the league. And I think he would have proved it. He looked like he had that eye of the tiger, so to speak, to prove everyone wrong. But right now, the main concern and the only concern really, Peter, is his health, his long-term health. And he is getting great care. From my understanding, he's home, he's in good spirits, but no timetable has been set for his return. And it's a huge void at defensive tackle for the New England Patriots. They've added some bodies. They're trying to see what they have in guys like Sam Roberts, who was, a draft pick a couple of years ago. Maybe he can round into form a little bit. Daniel Ekuale may be called upon to take on a bigger role. But Christian takes on the double team so well, and it predicates and really frees guys like Matthew Judon and Joshua Uche to get after the quarterback when Christian is absorbing two linemen at the same time. Patriots are going to miss that a lot, and it is a big loss for this defense.
Stay up to date all year on the New England Patriots by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Patriots on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Thanks for making Locked On Sports Today your first listen. Coming up, what's gone wrong with Craig Counsell's first season at the helm at Wrigley? Before we get to that, Scotty Scheffler did more Scotty Scheffler things. No football, no NBA, no problem with FanDuel. With baseball, we've got the WNBA that's going to be back soon, plus the Olympics. There's plenty to dive into over at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Not even an Olympic swimming pun. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day all summer long. It can be a pun if you want it to be. Guess who's favored to win the NFL MVP? Well, guess who has the shortest odds to win MVP? Patrick Mahomes. Yes, of course he does. Plus 500. The only player with better than 10-1 odds, Josh Allen, 8-1. How does Mahomes not win every year? Well, he was just voted the 4th best player by the players. So maybe that's why. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts so you never miss an episode. Scotty Scheffler became the first golfer to enter the Olympics as world #1 and win a gold medal. He dazzled with a final round 62 at Le Golf National and recorded exactly 0 bogeys. 0. Scheffler entered the clubhouse 19 under and needed to wait for Great Britain's Tommy Fleetwood, Spain's John Rahm, and his Team USA teammate Xander Schauffele to finish up their final rounds. He was, hitting balls on the range to stay warm. Fleetwood won silver, while Japan's Hideki Matsuyama won the bronze. On NFL training camp fields, the Saints practiced without pads for a day, and the offense balled out.
A little bit of a light day for the New Orleans Saints at training camp day 10, but not enough to keep the fireworks off the field. I'm Ross Jackson, host of the Locked On Saints podcast. New Orleans Saints back into shells today. They'll go back into pads tomorrow. So they did 5 straight padded practices. Then they kind of took this as a little bit of a lighter day. It certainly felt like a lighter day out here until they started running their end of half simulation 2-minute drill where you had Derek Carr go 6 of 6, leading a touchdown drive, including a big 30-plus yard completion to Mason Tipton down the right sideline. We also saw Jake Haener go 5 of 6, where he led a touchdown drive as well. Spencer Rattler came up a little bit short, but still looked good here throughout the day. Really, really good stuff from the New Orleans Saints offense in those 2-minute drills. Tomorrow they go back into pads though, so expect the physicality to ramp back up and a little bit more to be seen, of course, in the run game, defensive line, all that. So lots of good stuff on the way. To keep up with it all, make sure you subscribe to the Locked On Saints podcast.
I got that Saints over ticket. Feeling good about it. Gardner Minshew went off for the Raiders.
It's Q Myers from the Locked On Raiders podcast. Practice number 8 is officially in the books for the Raiders. A scrimmage on a Saturday night at Jack Hammett here in Costa Mesa, and pretty good. pretty good performance by the offense and the defense. I thought Gardner Minshew was the better quarterback for the day. Aiden O'Connell made some plays, but Gardner Minshew definitely had the better day. The defense continued to make defensive plays like they do. MJ Devonshire showed up. DeCam Richardson showed up. Jack Jones showed up. And Isaiah Palmau, because why wouldn't? He's always around the ball. So they continue to do what they did, but there was a lot of live session where they were going at each other 11 on 11, really a lot longer than expected. So they got some really good action. They don't have any joint practices and joint scrimmages this year, but the work they got in on this Saturday night here at Jack Hammett, thought they went really a long way to starting to show what this team is going to be. But the offense is continuing to come around and looking a lot better. For more of this, tune in to the Locked On Raiders podcast.
And on the diamond, the Astros lineup stymied again.
Oh, what do you know? Another day, another Houston Astros loss as they have forgotten how to hit the baseball. Boy, oh boy, aren't you guys having fun? I know I am. What a great time. The Astros close off a 10-game homestand by going 5-5. And I'm watching the Mariners and Phillies game at this moment, and they're flashing the Astros score across the screen, and they're probably celebrating about it. And they're showing the standings right now as the Astros are a game and a half back of the Mariners, who, by the way, as at the moment, as we start this show, are losing. But that does not matter because the Astros crap the bed in the last two series of this 10-game homestand against the Pirates and against the Tampa Bay Rays.
The Chicago Cubs took care of the St. Louis Cardinals 6-2 on Sunday night on national television, but it has not been the season the Chicago Cubs were hoping for when they brought Craig Counsell down the freeway about an hour and a half from Milwaukee down to the Chicago Cub organization. Sam Olber from Locked On Cubs joins me now. And Sam, what is it about this season so far that has just not been what you expected it to be?
Yeah, I think it starts with May and June. The Cubs had the worst offense in baseball statistically. That's a third of the season, and this offense
it's usually a problem.
This offense is definitely on paper more talented than that. Early in the season, they blew a bunch of saves. I think they're 21. They have 21 blown saves. So when you combine the 2 months of real, I think during those 2 months they're about 24 and 39, and all the blown saves. I think that's where it went wrong. I don't know if it has a ton to do with Counsell or Ross or you or me could be managing a team that can't hit. You know what I mean? So that's been the frustrating part. And since the calendar's flipped to July, they've played a lot more like you would expect them to play. But, is it too little too late? Probably so. But, you're going to catch me with a positive tone whenever we take 3 out of 4 from the arch rivals over the weekend. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, that's going to be a salve on any wound Cubs fans have on the season for sure.
Right.
What were expectations for how much Craig Counsell was going to be able to change this team? Because I think we consistently overvalue the kind of impact these things can have.
Yeah, I did. I did. I did on our show every day for about 3 months. The expectations were to be about a high 80s win ball club and to compete for a division title and compete for a playoff spot. I still think with the way things are trending with Milwaukee, like 88, 89 would probably be good enough. I thought they'd be between 87 and 90 wins. That was the expectation. So it's not like we expected them to be a 95, 96 win team. But the expectation was for them to be a solid team, be fundamentally sound, and be there, the last weeks of the season. And it hasn't played out that way so far.
Is there something that you mentioned? Okay, look, if you're a manager and your guys aren't hitting,
right.
But that's part of the deal is to play psychiatrist a little bit. It's to push the right buttons. It's to change the lineups around a little bit. Like to your mind, has there been improvement there or things that you can point to and say, okay, this is changed because of whether it's Craig Counsell or it's the front office, like things are changing because
I think the in-game stuff, like the pulling the reliever and hitting certain guys has been better. My complaint on our show starting around Memorial Day weekend was I thought there was a general lack of urgency from the team that starts with Craig Counsell because he has a pretty robotic personality for better or worse.
Yeah.
And you could see if you're watching this team every day, around late May, you could see something's not right here, and they need some urgency. Like you said, maybe change a lineup around, maybe get tossed from a game, do something to just change the energy, and it never happened. And it caused another real bad month of baseball. So I would say a complaint of mine with Counsell that I didn't realize was just the general lack of urgency day to day. But I still think there's probably been some in-game management improvement. I just, I'm a big personality guy. If it were me, I would have injected some things to try and get the guys going sooner, because it was just such a miserable 2 months of baseball.
Yeah, well, and in 162 games, like Craig Counsell is a baseball lifer. He knows what this grind is about, and so I think from a fan perspective, I can remember press conferences sitting in the room with Ned Yost in Milwaukee. He's going, "Hey, we think it's going to turn. We think Jeff Suppan is going to really put it together." And you're just going, "What are you talking about?" Sometimes you want that fire, and a lot of times those things can go the other way with your team. You can feel like you're panicking, or that they don't believe in us. So it is a fine line that organizationally you have to walk.
Yeah, I could never be a manager. I would lose the team within the first 2 weeks. The first preview of like a 4 out of 6 stretch, I'd lose my cool and I'd lose all respect. That's why I'm here doing a show versus those guys. But I still think there's a little bit of wiggle room, and I think it didn't come at the right time for the Cubs. But is that the reason why we're here? No, the reason why we're here is that the players haven't performed the way they should have so far.
Yeah, a manager, a coach in any sport, they look a lot better when the players are playing well.
Right.
Stay up to date all year on the Chicago Cubs by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Cubs on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, there's no quarterback competition in Pittsburgh. The Steelers used some financially savvy moves to bring in not one, but 2 quarterbacks this offseason. As Matt Williamson tells Brian Peacock, though, there's no contest between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields.
As you mentioned, Justin Fields has gotten a lot of work with the ones. Has he had an opportunity to make the Steelers think that this is a really true competition, and could Fields actually win that? And how different has it looked once Russell Wilson did show up when the Pats came on?
I don't think it's a competition. I really don't. Coach Tomlin said Wilson has pole position, which I don't think he's lost yet, despite not really running with the ones. But I do think there's a lot to unpack. You mentioned that Wilson was your Fields comparison. Fields' favorite quarterback growing up was Russell Wilson. So they have a really cool dynamic. It's not like, it'd be a lot different if it was Fields versus Pickett here. I think they'd be battling it out. I think Fields kind of knows his place. This guy has a lot of pelts on the wall, could go to the Hall of Fame. And frankly, just watching Russell Wilson, he doesn't know who I am, but I've been around him a lot here. He's in the cafeteria at the table next to me. He handles himself really well, and you can tell he's sitting with Cam Hayward, and he has a lot of respect. Even when he's not dressed, or he's got a hat on and he's throwing afterwards, and he's involved even when he's not taking reps. So it's clearly, I don't say his team, it's more Cam Hayward, Tomlin, Watt's team, but he's the guy at that position.
Here's the thing. Russell Wilson has always been that. Russell Wilson is, going back to his rookie season, the I can command the room guy. The problem at the end in Seattle was the play on the field did not match the persona. It rubbed people the wrong way. It ultimately cost the coach his job and Russell Wilson his spot in Seattle. He goes to Denver, where he acts like the man. Broncos country, let's ride. But he stunk on the field. At least that first season. He was marginally better that second season. And then we found out, of course, Sean Payton is actively undermining Russell Wilson so they don't have to pay bonuses. 2 future Hall of Fame coaches, potentially, said, we're good. We're good over here with Russell Wilson. So you're telling me a third, because Russell Wilson acts the part, he's going to just, like, this is his team and his job forever? He's going to play at some point. And we're going to see the same thing in Pittsburgh we saw in Denver and at the end in Seattle. Now, the problem for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Justin Fields is not any better. And we know that. We've seen him play too. So this is the best of 2 aggressively mediocre options. But the idea that this has to just be Russell Wilson's team because he is that guy in standing is absurd. Because that was true in Denver. That was true in Seattle. And finally, how do you follow up winning an Olympic gold medal? How about a diamond? Diamond, it goes great with gold. Huang Ya-chung won gold in badminton. As she walked off the floor, her boyfriend, Liu Yo-chen, met her with a bouquet of flowers. And if you watch the video, you can tell she knows what's going to happen here. He gets down on one knee and proposed. She said, yes, of course. Top that proposal. I dare you, but you better know for sure that that's a yes if you were going to do that in someone's gold medal moment. Incredible stuff. Congratulations to them. If you're watching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up on Friday, who's in the best position to win their division as we head down the stretch run of Major League Baseball's season? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.